So, Kristen,
Wow, Roddy's just exploding with fireworks and
I
all
don't
kinds
know
of,
how he did it.
I don't
It's
know what's
pretty neat.
happening over there.
I know. It's good to see you. It's so good to see you. I so Ashley, when you got here, you answered that question. How many writers do you have now on the team on a monthly basis?
You right now, 18 to 20.
And what was y'all's production last month, annual premium?
Issued last month, 56,000, I think.
Issued.
Yeah,
Okay. That's so cool.
it's
So freaking
exciting. So
cool.
yeah.
Um, And I'll tell you, man, I just your leadership, talking to Jamie early on, she was just she would go on about what a solid leader you are, how you treat people, how you love on people. Um, you're I've loved you for a long time. Um you're faithful, you're a special human being, and um I've been lucky enough to know her since, man, you were small when I knew you. Smaller, right? I
Like middle
her
school.
uncle. How many years difference are you and Brandon?
Oh, um, 8, 9. Yeah.
Okay, so and Brandon and I were friends when we were 19.
Yeah. I was in middle school, I think, or just starting middle school.
Okay, yeah. So her uncle was my best buddy. He passed away when we were 19 as kids, but I've known Kristen for such a long time, and their entire family is special. So it's no doubt or no question that you would be special. But I would just tell you, it's one of those things. I love the fact that you're in this agency. Feel bad that I didn't share it with you sooner. It took um, Jim Larson in Virginia, joining the team, hiring Sarah and Jamie in Missouri and Phoenix, Jamie from Phoenix, connecting with you, who was in South Carolina at that time. Like,
It's
it's
so crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it is really crazy.
It's meant to be for sure. But I would just tell y'all, and I couldn't be happier where you are. You're exactly where you need to be, right? But I would just tell y'all, this company, it just continues to grow. And like, the only problem with Symmetry, I said it this morning, is that more people don't know about it, but they will. And like, your friends, your family, someone is going to introduce them to this company. Might as well be you, if they want it, right? Like, it's not for everybody, but I think that for a lot of people, we have a solution to their problem. And might as well be y'all bringing them on, and um, working together. So, but man, I'm so proud of you. I'm
Thank
grateful
you.
for you. Yeah, the value that you bring to this team is amazing. The valuable people that you've surrounded yourself with, who bring a ton of value to this team, is amazing. All
Thank
three of you on this line happen to be people who send gratitude texts to me, you know, that um, it means something. It means something. And y'all lift me up. You encourage me. I hope that I get to do the same for you. But I'm really excited to hear from y'all today. So I'm going to pass it to you, Kristen, and let you interview these rock stars.
Thank you. So
Mhm.
sweet. Yeah, it is crazy to be here after knowing you for so long but I know both of you and I are firm believers in everything is the way that it's supposed to be. So I'm just happy we get to work together now.
Yeah,
So
me
yeah,
too.
yeah, love you.
You too, bud.
Super excited to share with you guys today. It's kind of well, first of all, I promised you last week that we would go over how to enhance your text communications with GIFs. So that's how we're gonna just kidding. I feel like we've been talking about text communication all week now since you and Andrew covered that last week. Um, we love GIFs. So add that to your text communication if you don't use them. But in all
We
seriousness,
had a pretty well, before you get serious, I think we had an awesome text string going when we were at
oh
AOA.
my gosh, yes, we did.
I
Yeah,
was laughing out loud for
I
like
was
30
laughing
minutes.
out loud too. I was crying,
Yeah, it was
but
good.
it's fine. It's all fine. um, have someone that you can work with and also be funny with, because that's key. And Jacob is definitely that, as well as Jamie. So, but last week, if you guys haven't listened to the call that Andrew shared, a pretty vulnerable story, and it was coincidentally, like, I had already chosen my topic for this week. And so I love they kind of fit seamlessly together. But last week he shared a story and really just touched on the man in the arena, and shared a super powerful quote by Theodore Roosevelt. If you missed it, go listen to the call, Google Theodore Roosevelt, man in the arena, and you'll see the quote. But the topic that I had chosen for today was staying power, and just talking about how resiliency and struggle develop you into the person that you need to be in order to take that next step, to have your next breakthrough. And I know that, something we all hear often is, this is so easy to quit. There's low buy-in. It's pretty relatively like low cost to get started as an insurance agent. We're not spending thousands of dollars, and really there's no one that we have to report to. Like, if you want to quit, or if you want to like not do this anymore, you could pretty much just Irish goodbye and leave, and no one's really, going to force you to stay. And so a lot of times we hear that it's easy to quit, and people do quit. But there's one thing that kind of is a common thread between Emily, Annie, myself, and everyone on this call, is that we haven't quit. We're still here. We're still standing. We're still in the arena. And I think that's the most important part. And so I wanted to interview these two ladies and ask them a couple of questions for two reasons, mainly. One, I want us all to know that we all struggle here, and that, there's going to be something that each of these ladies share that resonates with you. And, number two is that struggle is for a purpose. I've been through a lot of struggle in my life. Most of you on this call probably have, but it's through those struggles that we become who we need to be in order to take on our next, role or title or place of leadership. And I'm a firm believer that I go through struggles for those reasons, and that I'm not where I need to be yet because I'm not the person I need to be. And so, as they share, just know that you're not alone. We all struggle, but reflect on how can you use those struggles to change? What are you supposed to be learning in these moments? What can you be taught, and who can you become? So we're going to share, but really quickly, I just want to highlight, because they're both incredible people. You guys will learn that today. And a lot of you probably already know that because you follow them and, talk with them. But Annie is a mom of 3. She's a wife. She's a former teacher. She was able to pink slip her boss, before this school year, which is something that she was so passionate about, but she saw the potential here, and she's going to touch on that today. She's a key leader. She's at 100%. She is a top producer in our agency since the moment she walked in the door. She submitted, this number may even surprise you because you may not know, but 138,000 this year, with 132 apps. She's had 30 total writers, and last month ended at 33,000 issued with 10 writers. So you guys, her next step is agency owner, and that's coming very, very soon. So I'm super proud of her. And she's great with words and loves on people so well. And then Emily is Annie's sister-in-law. She is a mom of 2. Also, you have to be a mom to be in the Susie Me Neighbor agency. She's a former therapist, and she was also able to leave her job. She made that decision a couple of months ago before this school year started. And she'll share on that today too. She's a team leader, 95%, so close to 100%. She had 88,000 submitted this year, you guys, with 86 apps, 17 writers total, and next up is key leader. So that's coming super soon. And we're all a part of the amazing Susie, Reineke, Pogue, Marshall, the good stuff. We're all part of the same hierarchy. So thank you guys for coming on with me today and sharing. You guys just listen to them share their struggles from their heart, and hopefully you find something that resonates with you. So the first thing that I wanted them to touch on is obviously the struggle. Like, they're both gonna just share some struggles that have been hard for them as they started this journey, this new career. And so I'm going to start with you, Annie. Lucky Annie gets to go first. So tell us a little bit about the struggle or struggles that you wanted to touch on that you've experienced, since becoming an agent.
Okay. So I'm going to take a deep breath because when we were prepping for this call, I can't tell you how many people were like, just be yourself. Just be yourself. I'm like, well, I can't fart. I can't swear. I can't booty shake. So like, I guess I'll just use my words because I'm just limited to my little like screen, my Brady Bunch screen. Okay. So Emily and I are both going to talk about different struggles mentally that we have had. Specifically, mine are related to the struggle that I have had going from my background is in teaching. I've taught for years. From the time I was a little girl, all I ever wanted to do was work with children. And I wanted to be a teacher from the time I had little stuffed animals. I mean, truth be told, I would put my stuffed animals like in my playroom and I would teach them. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with kids. And I just sort of thought because the service of being around kids and just helping was just what I was supposed to do. I felt gifted in that way. And then when I had my own kids, I was like, wow, I don't know if I want to do this forever because I want to be able to raise my own children. And I didn't know if that was ever at all possible. So then whenever I got myself into the MLM space and I found that freedom financially, my best month in business was I was making $19,000. And had I been smarter, I probably would have been in a different place. But I am a firm believer too that, you go through life learning lessons for very specific purposes. And I don't think that first round was the best round for me. I think this is where I'm supposed to be and why. A lot of it relating to money. And I talked to Sarah a lot about this as a teacher. And I think I'm praying that some of you here can hear that struggle of just what it feels like to feel like you're sort of in this poverty mindset of, like a paycheck every 2 weeks feels a little bit better than being commission-based and having to figure it out yourself and having to trust yourself more than you're trusting being an employee for somebody else. So I'll talk a lot about that specifically, but the staying power for me in the circumstances of like what has tested me the most is probably that. And then being able to pink slip my boss by like putting the faith in myself versus putting the faith in the school district paying me forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know so many of us, I mean, everyone on this line can probably nod their head and agree that, starting out, it's a mindset shift. And there is some, I mean, I texted Jacob and Jamie this morning. I mean, 2 years ago, we were in the negative, like couldn't pay our bills. It was rough. And coming from a space where I was making good money like Annie was in the MLM space. And it was tough pill to swallow, but like I needed to make a change and we weren't in a place where we could buy leads and all of those things. And I'm so grateful that I did because 2 years later, I mean, we're not where we're going to be, in a year from now, but I mean, we have extra in our account now and that's a huge, huge deal. So for all of those that are feeling that struggle, especially that financial side and, making the decision to put your faith in something bigger that's off brand of what everyone else does is just having the faith that it's going to work out and it's going to be okay, but you're not in that struggle alone. So Emily, what are some of the struggles that you wanted to share?
Yeah, so I think that we can definitely all relate to what Annie was saying. And really, we wanted to just be able to touch on different struggles because I think the struggles go across the board for what everyone has here. So realistically, for me, I'm a social worker by trade. So the biggest struggle coming in was this is a completely foreign industry to me. So it was a lot of learning and reading and educating myself on what this is. And so that was hard for me to get through the learning curve. And I'm still getting through the learning curve most days. But really for me, I would say my biggest struggle, and this goes back to personal years of growth, years of work, is comparison. And the opportunity to find yourself in the comparison trap here is so prevalent. Every day we see it. And it's so exciting to see all of these people winning and celebrating. But the comparison thing for me is just, it's been a struggle. It's been a lot of work. I'm also, I live in that instant gratification world where I want everything right now. So that comparison and all of that just falls into that category of just wanting it now and looking around and seeing other people do it. So it's been a lot of work. And also just kind of on those lines is just thinking about comparison is being able to celebrate myself. And that has been a huge, huge struggle for me. So thankfully, Kristen and Jacob and everyone else here, they celebrate us and celebrate those wins, even if it's a small win. But that for me has been a huge struggle to celebrate myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, one that we can all relate to, right? I mean, we are on, one of the best agencies in the entire company, and that's becoming more and more evident every time I'm around other people. And so the comparison game can be really difficult, but both of you, and we're going to touch on this in just a second, but both of you have done such a great job at like noticing the areas that are a struggle for you, and then how can I get better? How can I improve? Being so coachable and open to what you can do to fix your mindset to help with that financial struggle, to stop comparing, because it's all easy to do. And so Emily, just touch on what have you learned, or what kind of things did you learn through your struggle with comparison about yourself, or about just how to stay here and stay in the right mindset?
So kind of answering both of those questions, the number one reason why I'm still here is this culture. The culture and the mentorship here is unlike anything I've ever been a part of. Some of the things I've learned or had to unlearn was my thought patterns and how I think and what I allow to come into my brain. And I had to push out a lot of the negative thoughts that I had come in. And a lot of that learning is through podcasts and through reading, through mentorship. But one of the biggest things that I've learned, and Jacob really touched on this at the beginning, was gratitude. And I have a happy, healthy family. I have so many blessings and positive things in my life, but I've so often focused on the negatives. And through this whole process, I've literally learned every day to wake up and be grateful for what's in front of me. And so that has been one of the big lessons. And with that is just the value of being present with my family. And I was tugged in so many different directions before. I was a therapist by trade, so I went and listened to people all day long. I came home completely depleted. And although I was with my family, I was never present mentally with them. So I've really learned how to just use that gratitude and be present, and just so many positive things that I've learned.
Yeah, so good. And you are great at that. It's just, if you're going through the struggle, like quickly reflecting on, what you're grateful for, or what that's coming on the other end of the struggle. And so for sure, all of that resonates with me. I know. Annie, through your struggle with mindset and just the financial side of leaving your job and having that consistent paycheck, what have you learned about yourself, or about just, staying in it here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, like what I was saying before, the 1.0 version, I did it before and I left before. And so I have a lot of that. Jacob and I talked about that yesterday, like that imposter syndrome of walking back into an industry where I'm trusting that I'm in control of rewriting the narrative and rewriting the story for my family. A lot of the background to the story is, that I carry with me. And Emily was talking about like unlearning a lot of things. I have to constantly work on unlearning a lot of verbiage that goes on in my head. So my mom was a super, super intelligent human being, but she decided to stay home with us as children. And she walked away from a lot of opportunities that she really could have, I just think, killed it in. My dad was self-employed. He was a photographer and an artist. And had he been placed in New York City, I think our life would probably look different. We just there wasn't a need for it where we were. So I watched my parents struggle financially my whole life. I told Sarah this yesterday. And it kind of got to me whenever I was talking to her about it, because I carry around that weighted blanket of, am I ever going to get away from that feeling of like, are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? And we walked into, a brand new lifestyle. I mean, this house that we live in, like, it wasn't supposed to be this extravagant of a project, and it turned out it needed to be. So I carry a lot of that, the sentiments of what I've created in my, or, like that I've downloaded onto myself. So Emily's saying like unlearning a lot of patterns and behaviors is tricky. And so what I try to remember to do is lean in to the people that are investing in me. So I think like you are the people that you surround yourself with. And I try to make sure that my circle are the people that make me feel good and are the people that inspire me. Guys, we have so many people that are just here on this call, but just in general, who have come from the same struggles. I mean, you've heard Jacob talk about how he walked into this business with, $100,000 of debt. I mean, that's overwhelming. Jamie talks about how she built this business by basically putting it on credit cards and building herself with the debt. Like, Jacob talked about that a lot. I listen to Danny. I talk to Danny all the time, and his story is about how he left a job before he was ready to leave a job, because financially it wasn't where it needed to be, which is sort of what I'm talking about. And he built it into something for his family. So we all have similar threads, but I guess the biggest point for me is like unlearning a lot of those things. And it's by leaning into the people who, when Jamie sends me a screenshot of her deposits for the month, I'm like, I can do this. Like, I can totally do this. I am not any different than the person that I'm comparing myself to, and instead lean into being inspired by them. And I think that that's what I've really had to focus on is, I don't need to be Jamie. I don't need to be Kristen. I don't need to be Emily. I don't need to be any of those people. I need to be me. And I need to lean into that, because like Jacob said, that's who this company needs to see, is me. They don't need to see somebody else that's a replica. They need to see me and my true authentic self.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that about each of you too, is just being able to be you and bring your best to the table. I know I'm not the grittiest, and I'm not the top of anything, but I bring my best qualities to the table. And both of you do that really well, especially for your agency. And it shows. And I know that so many on here can probably resonate with what you shared about the financial struggle too, of knowing like, where am I going to get my next leads? And if they have a history of the poverty mindset, or grew up in a situation where their parents didn't have money, or your family wasn't in a position to do extra or do more or to do things in abundance. And so, and that resonates with me just as a daughter of a business owner. I mean, I see my parents being able to do all of these things, and Jacob knows my dad very well, but we grew up sleeping on a mattress on the floor because we had nothing. And so I've seen what hard work can do, and a change in mindset, personal growth, professional growth. I can see what that does for people. But I know everyone can resonate with what you said, especially about the financial piece too. I mean, there were points where I delayed my car payment last year because I needed leads. And so you do what you got to do. But the point is that both of you experienced those struggles, and just a shift in perspective, but you're still here, and you learned a lot through those. And now you're able to share those experiences and what you learned with your agents, because we all face the same issues. And so as you grow your agency, you're going to be able to reflect on those with them and relate with them, which is a powerful thing. What are your favorite, both of you have grown so much over the last year, and you guys know I'm big on personal development, but are there any favorite books or podcasts or things that have really helped you in the struggle, through the struggle? We're getting the mute hammer, don't worry.
Talking about, I can kind of touch on this because this is fresh with what Annie was talking about. I'm currently reading Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, which talks all about that mind shift of the poverty mindset and all of that. So that is a really good book. One of the books that I've read is The Way You Talk to Yourself. That's another great book, The Power of One More. I mean, I think Annie and I listen to the same podcast and read a lot of the same books, obviously, Ed Milet, Mel Robbins. I also shared one with Jim at the lake house, was The One You Feed, and it's all about these two wolves and which one you want to listen to and feed.
So good. I'll have to read that one.
I mean, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is like probably hashtag perfect for my whole, my whole like, mantra. I wrote a couple down too. Be obsessed or be average. Jim did it. I think it was one of the Pogue calls, and he talked about be obsessed or be average. And Grant Cardone's now like my new crush. Just freaking love him. Be a badass at making money, or you are a badass at making money. So all of those, plus, obviously the podcast that Emily shared. And then I've recently, one of my best friends in the whole world, she started a podcast with somebody who I've brought on to help me financially with just like financial planning. And it's called Know Your Worth. And I mean, it couldn't be any more integrated into like how you talk about money and how money, you associate money with how you feel about just spending when you want to spend, or just, your worth associated with this business and money in general.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing those. Okay. If there's someone on the line today and for some reason that this is like a call, they're sitting here, they're like, I feel like I've wanted to quit, or I want to quit because this isn't working for me. If you had to give them a word of advice or encouragement or something, in 1 to 2, 3 sentences, what would you say? Either of you could go first. Emily, what would you say? Or Annie?
I would definitely say that you can win here. We can all win here. We need to celebrate and rejoice in our wins. And although the mentorship is great here and everyone celebrates it, we have to learn how to celebrate ourselves. And just knowing that this is your journey and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And just a little bit of advice that my therapist recently, we were talking about a lot of stuff just going on. And she said, just the growth that, I've done for myself in the last year. She said, when you can get out of your head and into your heart and soul, that's really where the magic happens.
So this is, first of all, Emily, that's so true. And I've watched you walk that out. I mean, I've watched you live your life in this past year, just in the growth space. And it's just awesome to see it. When I was getting ready, I was listening to something because I was like trying to ground myself and trying to speak just from the heart. And I kid you not, I found the best, it's like a 2-minute clip. So if I can, Kristen, I want to play it. It's just like on my phone. I just recorded it. And it was Sarah. It was exactly what we were talking about on the phone yesterday. And I was like, this is exactly what, if I could put into words how I feel, this is how I feel. So if you don't care, I'm just going to like hold my phone up so you can listen to it.
Play away.
We can't hear it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I was getting ready to say, are you playing it? Because we can't hear it.
Okay. So basically, I'll have to just share it in some other capacity, but it was talking about why something that's been placed on your heart hasn't been placed on your heart for a reason. But you have the opportunity to choose whether or not you are going to be a victim of those feelings and those thoughts and those behaviors, or if you're going to rewrite the story. And God put it in front of you because he wants you to have it, but you have to walk it out and you have to make the conscious choice to change things that are holding you back, take the weighted blanket off, move forward in the direction that you're supposed to go, because otherwise it's for the taking, but you have to decide that that's what you want to do. And instead of being a victim, you have to be the victor of your own story.
It's so good. So true. Yeah. Maybe we can get that out and we'll share it. But both of those points are so good and so encouraging to someone. I know someone needed to hear that. And you both, again, have done such incredible work on yourselves, and you help me be a better person, be a better leader, and to show up more intentionally. So I appreciate you both sharing today. And just, with that, you guys just remember, we all struggle. It's taking that struggle and those challenges and pushing it into change, because that's where you're going to find your best self.
This was awesome. Y'all are awesome. I just, the future of this team looks really, really, really good for a long time, because we got layers and layers and layers of awesome people. I love your hearts. I love your vulnerability. Love that you both, I know that there were some nerves and you couldn't tell, there was nerves earlier in the week, and I hope when we were able to say, just be you, that it helped, because that's what I saw today. I saw everyone's authentic self, and that's all we want. And that's all we want from everyone on this team, man. I think sometimes that comparison trap you talk about is we're comparing our weaknesses to other people's strengths. Like, in what world does that ever make sense? Right? It's never apples to apples. Like, I'm better at some things than you are, like hugs. Like, I'm better at hugs than most people. Okay. No. So don't compare yourself to me on hugs. You're just going to fall short and you're going to feel bad about yourself. No.
It's true.
But seriously, man, I struggled with that comparison trap a lot, and it did nothing to move my business forward. It did nothing to increase my happiness. And it's just not needed. I tell you, we will celebrate you. We celebrate people who make their way to the leaderboards, but we try to also mention, if you're writing one app a month, a week, and that's what you need for your family, man, I'm just as happy for you as I am for that top producer. Like, your value here is not determined by where you fall on a leaderboard. You're valuable, right? And sometimes we get overworked and overwhelmed because we're looking at the leaderboard and we're number 7, which means there's 6 people better than. Look, there's always going to be someone in this business who, for this week or this month, we got a gajillion leaderboards, right? You're probably not going to be number 1 in all of them. So we got to be used to how to we got to get used to celebrating other people who are doing it really good, learning from those people. But as y'all said today, looking in the mirror and being confident in who we are, and thanking God for this vessel that we are. And I promise you, your life will be so much better if you do that. Financially, you just got to have trust, man. You got to trust. You got to look around at other people. And I was always a believer that if one person can do it, I can figure it out, right? I was never the best at any part of this business, but I worked hard. And if you're willing to work hard and dial a lot and hear no and share this opportunity, your life can change. Kristen, I didn't read that message until we were on this call, but knowing that you're in a point now, because I knew financially, like, you were used to making a ton of money. That deal didn't work out anymore, right? So now you're at this deal and you're trying to make it work, starting.
Well, and just to touch on that too quickly. I mean, I had to borrow money from my parents when we first started, but I was able to text them this morning right after I texted you and just said, hey, I want you to know that we're okay and that we're in a place. Things are getting better. And so just that, what a huge weight off my shoulders is to be able to tell my parents, hey, you don't have to worry anymore about us even buying groceries, because we were in that point. So
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Can't wait to hear that whole story too. But I know they were buying you groceries and stuff, and now you got, for the last few months, a couple extra grand going into your bank account after all your bills are paid, after your family eats. That's what this company can do for you. If you push through that fear of the unknown, if you retrain your mind that you are deserving to make a great income, and you're going to do that by making a great impact. And The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind is a great book that I had to read to reframe my relationship with money and understand, why do I look at money the way I do? It's not bad. Money's not bad. So push through here, because I hear stories every single week of somebody where this company has changed their life because they have more money than they used to. Knowing that money doesn't solve all the problems, right? But it certainly makes life a lot less stressful, because being in debt is a huge problem. And I know how that feels, and I don't want y'all to feel that way. So love you girls so much. Let's go out and just be proud of who we are this weekend. Let's do the work that makes us proud too. Your confidence goes way up when you do the right things. Nobody has to tell if you do the right things. We don't lie to ourselves. So don't lie to yourself. Go do what you got to do to move your business forward. Be it dialing, be it hiring people, whatever you got to do. And you will feel better about yourself when you look in the mirror. I hope everyone has a great, great weekend. Thank you so much. Next week is Thanksgiving. We are not having a Friday call next week. Just so everyone knows, spread the word. We'll get it out. We will double up. We'll probably get the leaderboards out and on Friday for sure. And then we'll go over the leaderboards, 2 weeks worth of leaderboards, I guess, on the next week's call. So love y'all. Have a happy, safe Thanksgiving. Travel safe. Eat a bunch of turkey. And we'll come back and see y'all soon. Thanks, ladies.